welcome back to my stream. Uh, so, we are going to be discussing some of the new champions that have been revealed for Legends of Runeterra. So, we have gotten everyone, or three of the champions that are coming out with the Dreamlit Paths expansion. There is a distinct possibility we will get at least one or two more champions coming out in this next expansion that is dropping next Wednesday. And because I tend to only do my podcast episodes once or twice a week, we are going to just focus on reviewing the champions that have been revealed thus far. Do note that as of right now, we have reveals scheduled for. Let me actually check calendar. Let's see. So we should. Okay, so it does look like we should get some reveals Saturday and Sunday, though that is not 100% confirmed. We have not received any variety cards as of yet, and so we are likely to get variety cards sometime over the next week. Now, we're going to first start with Lux. Really? Why don't they have any of the information with... Seriously? Okay, give me just a second. We're gonna have that real quick. Because we're gonna... okay. Sorry, I'm just pulling up the images of the reveals for Lux. Lux, Vex, and Lilia's information up. Okay. Go ahead and... Okay. Alright. So, Lux. We're getting a brand new version of Lux with the new expansion, Lux Illuminated. This is a 3 cost down from the 4 or 5 cost of the original Lux. Let me actually just go ahead and double check that information. Let's see. Yeah, 5 mana for Lux. But this Lux, rather than summoning with Barrier, she gets Barrier every time she supports an ally. She is technically a 3 mana, 2/3. Spirit is +1/+1 for each stack of Spirit I have. I understand why they go ahead and just, rather than making the champion a 3 mana 2/3 with no Spirit, they do want Lux to synergize with all of the boost effects that are coming out with her package and will likely be included in some of the other variety cards that are coming out. Now, Lux's full text is support, grant my supported ally Spirit, and give me Barrier this round. This basically reads as grant my supported ally +1/+1 and give me Barrier. Her level up condition is allies have attacked with or have gained while attacking 20 plus total positive keywords. This means that this works with any units that have attacked with any sort of positive keyword. This works with Pantheon after he's granted him after he's leveled up and given himself all the positive keywords. This is Kaisa and evolved mechanics. This is Bandle City's impact stacking. This works with Gnar. There's a lot of potentials, options for Lux's building or build around, just because it's very easy to get a wide board with a lot of variety of keywords. Um, and because Lux gives her supported ally spirit and gives herself barrier this round, she does give herself two keywords towards her level up progress. If you have other ways for, especially in a lot of the support archetypes, whether it's Lulu and uh, Shen or Tarek, um, all of them have the ability to grant a lot of keywords as part of the support package. Lulu has the elusive one drop that can give quick attack. Tarek can duplicate any spells that you cast on him that would give him a keyword or stat, and then he transfers those over to his supported ally. Um, and then, of course, you have just Shen with the ability to grant barrier to a lot of units. And because both Lux and Shen give barrier, a lot of the Ionia cards that give barrier, actually, let me go ahead and pull those up over in we're going to go ahead and close down this window just a second. So Greenglade Caretaker, but Kinku Student. Whenever another ally gets barrier, give me barrier this round if I don't have it. When Lux attacks and gives herself barrier, Kinku Student will end up getting barrier. And then Blastcone Seedling will actually work really well with the boost effects that will be in Demacia, because it could, you can summon it as a 2/2 with 2/2 and impact, and then you just keep growing it with Lux. Shen will pump up Lux even more with the barrier boosting. And then, of course, you can do some of the other shenanigans with... where's the... Oh yeah, Greenglade Caretaker. When an ally gets barrier, grant me +2/+0. You can basically support Lux supporting Greenglade Caretaker, then Shen supporting another unit that's double barrier in a round. So Shen Lux is a really interesting option. But if we close out barrier and do just support, no, we'll actually move this into standard. Herald of Spring, I don't believe is rotating out. That's Life Seal, and considering how much bonus stats you'll be granting, Herald of Spring should be a really good option. Durant Architect could technically work, especially since you could support Lux with Durant Architect, and Lux would then become a 2/5. Let me double check Lux's stats. Yeah, 2/5 with Formidable and Barrier, which is really good. Mumble Sprite creates an elusive ephemeral unit, which is 2 more keywords. Trusty Adnir, and then, so yeah, if you want to go into kind of a more interesting archetype in Eternal, you can do actually Noxus, because you have Legion Drummer and Overwhelm with Kaido the Arm, or Kato. Headmistress Telsi triggers support effects, activating additional time, and when Lux is granting Spirit, that's double Spirit, that's +2/+2, and then you'll have access to... so yeah, lots of options. Now, overall, Lux Illuminated, once she levels up, same thing, just doubling up Spirit, is fine. I think Lux, by her nature as a support champion, while also boosting stats and keywords, just has a lot of options and variety. And especially if you go with Targon's... If you go with Targon and do like Lux and Tarek, you have access to things like oh, you can do Black Shield. You can do um, like Gifts from Beyond and like the Aphelios Moon weapons, and then all of that. But if you do uh, Bandle City, um, you can do uh, things like some of the Mecha Yordles that like for Scrap Heap. So I think Scrap Heap might be getting rotated. I'd have to double check. Um, oh, it doesn't have any of the Mecha Yordles. Can I pull up events? Nope. Oh, here we go. Showing the Mecha Yordles. Like Geode Mecha Forcer, and then Smash and Dash, impacts twice, also works with boosting, Earthshaker, double power and impact. So the Mecha Yordles, a couple of them have some good synergies with Lux and the boosting packages. And then, so yeah, there's a lot of options for how Lux can be built. Overall, I'm expecting Lux to be a very versatile champion coming up. And so will be just a great champion to keep an eye on coming up. And in a couple weeks, once the set is dropped and we've had some opportunity to play with them, I'll be able to have a better idea of what sort of potential decks will work better or worse with Lux Illuminated. Yeah. So that's Lux. Okay. Didn't grab the right size. Oh well. Give me just a second then. I'll fix that. Alright. Down to Vex. Alright. There we go. That's better. Alright. Okay, so Vex, 4 mana Yordle, dual region, attack, grant the strongest enemy Gloom. You've granted Gloom 5 different times. So Gloom gives grants -1/-1 for each stack of Gloom. Basically infinitely stacking until the unit hits 0 toughness, and at which point it just dies. This is really potent, especially level 2. Vex as a fearsome basically means that anything that when Vex attacks the strongest unit will always be -1/-1, and if the strongest unit is 3 or more power, basically means Vex will always, or 3 or less power means that Vex will always be unblockable. So this is quite a potent stat line. Most of Vex's support cards. Let me see if I can pull up all the support cards for each day. No, at least not on LOR Reports Twitter. So let me actually pull up Reddit, and I'm just gonna, let's see, pull up Terra reveal all-in-one. Where's the Lux all-in-one? Because I believe they would have had these all for. Okay. Open image and tab. Open image and note tab. Vex. Feel on. Okay. And open a note tab. All right. We're actually going to go ahead and flip back over to Lux's stuff. All right. Here we go. So we've got Lux, Aberrant, Mage Seeker, Challenger, 2/3, summoned, grant all other allies spirit. If you play Lux in supporting Aberrant Mage Seeker, this ends up making it a 3/4 Challenger. Overall, so Dreamlight Alina. This is... We unfortunately don't have the full art for any of these cards as of yet. So we can't really see exactly what's going on in any of these. But this does look like Lux is potentially reading to niece, even an even younger sister of the Crown Guard family. Don't really know what's going on. But Dreamlight Alina is an 8-mana 2/2 that fills the board with 5 Spritelings. Down here we see that Spritelings are basically 1-mana 2/2s with because they have Spirit. If Lux is leveled up, they're basically 4/4s. And basically, if your board is already full and you drop Dreamlight Alina and you have at least one space open for a Spriteling, you basically get a 1-mana, I want to say 10/10 without Lux. And so, yeah, it's just pretty wild at just how efficient this is. You basically get 12 mana worth, 12 power and toughness and stats spread across anywhere from 2 to 6 bodies. And those are all, if Lux is on board already leveled up, they are 4/4s, and you get double that amount of power, I believe. Jaro Lightfeather, this is Ezreal's Demacia Disguise, granted an ally enhanced spirit. Just a really good, useful option. We can see lots of abilities for boosting between Lux's champion spell. Now, something to note about Lux's champion spell and Lux's Incandescence is it does not have a rarity along the bottom. Whereas Vex, where my guess is Glare is Vex's champion spell, does. And Lilia's Dream-Laden Bow and Lilia's Blooming Bud, neither of them have bans or rarity icons, which makes me think that Dream-Laden Bow will not be a main deckable spell, obviously. And Blooming Bud also will not be a main deckable spell. This does make sense as... Although, the Family Reunion also does not have a rarity icon, although Landmarks, I can't remember if they've had rarity icons or not. But it is possible that as a result of the mindset of champion spells should rarely be main deckable spells, which allows them to be more powerful, makes sense. And so I do not believe we will be able to just play Incandescence in any sort of deck without Lux Illuminated. Smoldering Smirk, that's Ezreal basically trying to flirt. Boost to allies, and then they strike one after another. This is Concerted Strike, however, slow speed means that it cannot be used in combat for blowouts. So I think overall this is a fine card. It is quite playable, especially in any sort of Demacia deck that will be running some amount of Spirit. However, until we see what other support cards we get, I don't know how playable Smoldering Smirk will be, just because we don't have any of the cards that will be coming out. So we don't know just how prevalent Spirit will be accessible to. And since Spirit is, as of right now, the only positive keyword that, or Spirit and Impact are the only stackable keywords, outside of potentially a dedicated Impact type deck or a dedicated Spirit deck with Lux Illuminated, Smoldering Smirk just won't be worth playing. Because I'm not sure, as of right now, if you can play Smoldering Smirk on allies that do not have any positive keywords to boost. That is yet to be seen. If that is the case, Smoldering Smirk might go from a really strong card that is quite playable in any sort of Demacia deck to probably unplayable in anything that isn't Lux Illuminated. Now, Spritelings and Tree Sprites, both being dual region units, means that they are playable in Tristana. And Tristana with now we do Vandal City. Now, Tristana with, we're going to go ahead and minimize window capture real quick. Now, Tristana and Lux is quite interesting because there are actually a good amount of dual region units playable by both in the Demacia and Vandal City package. And this Tristana, if you do Tristana as your secondary champion, that means you would still have access to Vex for Gloom, allowing you to have a little bit more access to boost effects. Plus, Tristana really wants to have good, strong, high impact levels, and by granting Tristana both Spirit and Impact means that you will be able to have access to stronger boost, because you are not just boosting Tristana's Spirit, but also her Impact. You have access to, of course, a couple Poros. You'll have access to Blast Cone Seedling, which again, you can either give just Barrier or Impact, both of which will be really good with boost. You can do, of course, Grandfather Fae. The Explorers, you'll have both access to Portal Pioneer and where it's the Demacia one. It's Demacia Freljord. I believe it's 3 mana. Let's see. Where is it? Scholarly Pioneer. And the really strong thing about having access to 2 Pioneers is that, or 2 Explorers, is that you will have access to Explorer's Blunder, which disable an enemy's positive keywords this round and again at the next round, means that you will be able to disable Spirit. This means that you can basically kill Spritelings, you can kill Jaro Lightfeather, you can reduce Lux down to a 1/2. Explorers with Explorer's Blunder will be incredibly potent. Just because the ability to negate any of the strong amount of keyword stacking that has occurred will be quite powerful. Otherwise, you'll Wandering Shepherd is getting rotated out. Combat Hook will be staying in. And you would have access to just quite a few good multi-regions cards, especially if you use Vex alongside Tristana and have Tristana as like a one-of. This means that your ability to play Tristana is just ends up being a really strong impact. Now, if we also look at impact, if you're looking at just doing impact type cards, Portal Scholar will also actually be a really good card to use alongside Tristana Lux, because Portal Scholar, when you summon a created ally, grants it impact, and if you have Jade Light Alina and the Spritelings, each Spriteling that you summon will boost Tristana and Dreamlight Alina. And because they're all created units, they'll also get impact. So when you start boosting them all up, you're increasing their stacks of impact alongside all of the spirit stacks. And so, uh, alongside Furious Faefolk and Bandle Gunners. Because, again, all the Sproutings will be multi-region. They will very easily reduce the costs of your Bandle Gunners. And because it's very easy to get Bandle Gunners down to very cheap, and when you support Bandle Gunners with Lux, it gets Spirit alongside the fact that it already has Impact, means that once you start boosting it, it gets very large very quickly, and it will be very easy to stack up the Bandle City Impact cards up to high enough levels that even if your opponent blocks, they will die. This means that Lux and Tristana, along with the multi-region or just Bandle City Impact cards, will result in a very powerful board state that will be very hard for opponents to actually stop. So overall, I think Lux's package will be quite strong, and overall, I think Lux, again, very interesting, lots of options. You can go with a support-heavy kind of aggro type deck by doing the support archetype in Ionia. You can do a little bit more mid-rangey type support by doing Targon. Or you can go kind of the boost archetype by going into Ionia. Or not Ionia, Bandle City. So all in all, lots of interesting options with Lux. If I were to rate her as a champion out of 10, I will say that she is almost certainly probably a 7.5 out of 10 champion. She is quite strong, she is quite playable, and there are lots of interesting deck types and options for her. As for Vex, Bloom Sprites, Strike, Grant Me Impact. Again, if you're doing either Lux Vex or Lux Tristana, Bloom Sprites will be an excellent choice to throw into the deck. Grotesque Gift, 2-mana Spirit. The first time an enemy is summoned, grant it Gloom. Basically a 2-mana 2/2 that can easily be boosted. It is a Bandle City unit. Again, pretty playable. Family Reunion. Boosting only 2 units does limit its access. However, it is playable in both Lux Vex and Lux Tristana. Beefcake Khmer, Impact, and Round Start Boost Me. Because Lux has plenty of ways to grant allies Spirit, Beefcake Khmer starts growing very fast, especially if you manage to get Lux leveled up. Grim will not be playable in Lux Vex or at least in Lux Tristana. Or rather, in a Lux Vex deck that does not use Bandle City. But if you're doing something like Vex Tristana, because it seems like Vex's package has a little bit more boost, it'll be quite playable. Grant a unit for Gloom is just a really solid option. One thing that is important to note that I think a lot of people are undervaluing is that because it is a permanent reduction, any sort of fearsome or other sorts of effects that can easily handle the unit with that sort of reduced power or toughness is quite strong. Also important to note, this is 6 mana, which means it is Elder Dragon region. This is extra removal on a unit in Elder Dragon's region, since Elder Dragon boons can grant fearsome from the Infernal boon. This means that it is a very powerful way to ensure that your opponent is less likely to have fearsome blockers to block your really large units. Shadow, just a typical boat. And then Existential Dread, grant all enemies Gloom. Again, quite playable. Overall, Vex's package does not seem to have the same sort of diversity in terms of the playable package as Lux does. However, Vex, I think, is an interesting replacement for both Heimerdinger and Vhagar as kind of a control-oriented champion. I don't, until we see some of the other control cards, I don't think we'll really be able to see anything really worthwhile for who Vex gets paired with. I think Vex Mordekaiser is quite interesting, just because being able to kind of reset Grotesque Gift or some of the other effects, it is interesting to see. Again, not really 100% sure on where Vex is going to go. I think Vex is honestly in terms of how diverse of a champion she is and what sort of decks can be built, I think Vex is going to just be sitting at probably a 4 out of 10. She just doesn't have the same sort of deck building diversity as some other units, and based off of which champions are still in Shadow Isles, I just don't really see where Vex really fits in as a champion and what other champions to pair with Vex. I think right now the default way to be building Vex is going to be Vex Lux and just taking advantage of all the boosting effects that Lux has. But we'll see. Finally, we've got Lilia. Lilia is when I'm summoned to strike, create a Dream-Laden Bow in hand, or if you have one, reduce its cost by 1. Dream-Laden Bow, sleep an ally. Now, what sleeping an ally does, if for anyone who did not read the reveal, sleep basically means that first recall any attachments that are on the unit that is about to be put to sleep, and then obliterate the unit that is getting put to sleep and summon a landmark with an exact copy in it with countdown 1. And basically this is Entomb or Zanya's Hourglass without the downside of obliterating the attachments that are on the unit that you're targeting with Entomb or Zanya's or Stasis. Then her level up condition is you've summoned 15 allies or landmarks. This is an increase over Azir's summoning requirements. Lilia is technically a quick attack 3-2 because she does have Spirit. Lilia's level 2 version is when you sleep another ally, immediately wake it up and grant it Spirit. Lilia, I think, is an interesting choice because I think she works with either Kennen, and doing Vandal City, Spritelings, that sort of shenaniganery. She pairs very well with Lux by being able to be boosted up by Lux's granting ally support. And I think she also has the potential to partner with Azir, just because the Sand Soldiers and being able to summon a lot of units very quickly means that you can very easily level up both Lilia and Azir. And then Dewdrop Harvest, summon Spritelings, sleep an ally. Honestly, perfectly serviceable. Petal Pixie, when I'm summon Spritelings. I do have to note that Black Flame was rotated out of Standard, or will be rotating out of Standard. And so this will mean that you can't quite do some of the same shenanigans that we have been able to do in the past with Kennen. But Vandal City and Ionia do have plenty of ways to recall their own units. I think if Ahri had not been rotated out, Lilia Ahri would actually be an incredible archetype to go with. And actually, I might try out building that deck in Eternal and seeing how this package will work in Eternal. I'm not sure what the second region would be. I do think Shurima. Actually, I think a mono Ionia list would actually be really interesting and quite fun. But Sprite Mother, really potent version, especially if you manage to get Sprite Mother into the Black Flame in Eternal. This means that you get to, every time you attack, just create Spritelings and Sprite Mothers everywhere, just extra stacks of Spirit. And that does keep stacking over and over and over again. And with how big Spritelings can get as a result, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a very strong board. I would probably run Demacia as a secondary region in that case, just purely for the fact of Dreamlet Alina being able to fill your board with Spritelings. Ophelis Gardener, fully heal an ally, then sleep it. This is fine. It is a skill, and so it can go in Jhin. I don't think you would want to put it in Jhin. And it does mean that you can get blown out by your opponent responding to the skill and just killing the unit you're trying to heal. Sprite Dance, recall an ally to grant all stacks of its spirit to another ally. When combine this with Sprite Mother, it is very easy to get a very large amount of stacks very quickly, especially with the amount of Dream-Laden Boughs that you can get. And if you combine this with Lux and her double stacks of Spirit, this means that Lilia Lux is very strong, and Sprite Dance is an excellent way to partner that. Otherwise, Lilia will... I think a Lilia deck with like Tristana would also just be fine. You don't get a chance to boost like you do with Lux, and so you don't get to increase the stacks of impact on your units. However, Lilia plus all of these printing effects that create lots and lots of Spritelings means that it is very easy to summon a bunch of dual region units, because as we saw in the Lux reveal, Spritelings are dual region Demacia Ionia units. So if you summon a bunch of them through Petal Pixie or Sprite Mother, or something like the Dewdrop Harvest, you end up creating a lot of dual region units, making it very easy to level up Tristana quite quickly, and getting her very strong, to the point where your opponent will always have to block Tristana or run the risk of just getting one shot just from Tristana's attack power. Ionia, with the Lilia's package, we are getting a 7-mana landmark story with Heart of the Tree, which is heal your Nexus 3 and summon Spritelings, grant allies everywhere spirit, and then manifest a card that costs 8 or more and reduce its cost by half, rounded up. Now, 7 mana heal 3 is not really what you want to be doing. However, the grant all allies everywhere spirit, or granting all basically granting all allies everywhere +1/+1, is really strong. So much so that effects like that have caused even subsets of granting all allies +1/+1 have been nerfed repeatedly, to the point where they either got rotated out of standard or were basically unplayable. However, this is most obvious in any deck that would have the ability to increase the stacks of spirit. I do think that if you are going to be stacking up lots of spirit, or if you have boost effects, the value of this card does go way up. However, if you're not really running any sort of boost package, it is just an additional positive keyword. I think a 1-of for Heart of the Tree in a deck with like Evelyn, where if you grant all of your allies spirit and all of your husks now have spirit, this means that you're getting extra stats on all of your units, because not only are they getting the +1/+1 from their own spirit, they consume the spirit of their husks and are getting extra stacks. So 7 mana is, I think, too slow, really, because especially since even if you play this on turn 7, you're not really doing anything other than summoning. Well, I did miss the summon a Spriteling. You're not doing anything other than heal 3 and summon a 2/2. Um, this is probably not enough to keep you alive unless you're doing really hard like control package. And if you have the attack token, you're kind of wasting your turn. But then once you grant all allies everywhere spirit, things start getting a little bit more interesting. The final mode of manifest a card that costs 8 or more and reduce its cost by half rounded up. Getting anything that costs like 4 or higher, like anything that ends up costing 4 or 5 mana, depending on what you ended up manifesting, uh, is nice, especially since you're not paying for it, and it is focused speed, which means you are going to get a chance to play that unit at priority. It is interesting. Again, I think that overall this is just too slow to really be playable. But if you're running some sort of control shell with like Lilia Evelyn, um, because you're going to be summoning a lot of husks with Evelyn, that helps level up Lilia, um, and sleeping a lot of the units in Evelyn, when they're summoned, they create the husks. So being able to sleep them and regenerate husks for extra stats is interesting. I think overall the Heart of the Tree is just too slow, but does potentially have a home in like a Lilia Evelyn deck. I wouldn't say it's good. It is a potential home. It is a potential deck. It is something that we will explore once the set comes out next week. And geez, we are going to. This is not. Okay, we are. Just a second. This chat message is spam, and I just need to go ahead and. Okay. That is. Yeah, no. Those are spam and scam attempts, and not interested. But overall, Lilia's package, I think, is really interesting. Um, Based off of current speculation and kind of the timing for how the reveal season has gone, generally we get 1 day of uh, variety cards in between each champion. Uh, Especially since we've also already seen all of the uh, most of the followers and support cards for said champion. Um, so I think we'll probably see one more champion and then 3 days of larger variety card reveals, um, or potentially two more champions and just two variety day reveals with a ton of cards. Because I could potentially see a revamped Nocturne or Fiddlesticks coming up as a fourth champion. That is a who's Runeterra, and then doing the usual variety cards Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, with the patch dropping Wednesday. Although it is possible that we'll get new champion, 2 days of new cards, and then patch notes Tuesday, and then the expansion Wednesday, which includes rotation, along with the new expansion. So, all in all, I think this is a so far. So, I am a huge fan of the new expansion, and I think it will be a fantastic draw for new players. Um, and I have been working on saving up wild shards in Path of Champions to be able to immediately acquire and level up uh, Lux, Vex, and Lilia. However, I am probably going to be spending quite a bit of time focusing on the PvP aspects of those champions and seeing what they can do. So we're actually going to go ahead and Bard's getting rotated out. So actually going to go ahead and clear out X. And we're actually going to go ahead and at least start constructing the decks that I think will be playable. We are actually going to be doing Demacia Vandal City because we'll be doing Lux Illuminated and Tristana. So we'll do 3 Tristana. We'll be doing 3 Lux. And then we're going to be focusing on some of the good efficient units in the region. A couple of Protoporos just because being able to boost the impact along with granting it spirit means that Protoporo will actually grow to be quite strong. If I remember correctly, the Darkened weapons are staying in, and I think the Darkened Staff, even though it has the impact and ends up granting it to what it's equipped to, I believe if you boost a unit that has impact from the Darkened Staff, it does get an extra stack of impact, and I believe if you swap out the attachment, switch weapons, whatever, I believe the extra stacks of impact will stay on the unit, and only 1 stack of impact will be lost when you unequip the Darkened Staff. That is something that will need to be tested, so we're going to stick 1 copy of the Darkened Staff in the deck just to make sure. Vandal Commando, I don't think it's getting rotated out. Let me double check. Let's see. Okay, now it's taking some time to load everything. Let's see, Vandal City. I don't believe. Vandal Commando does not seem to be getting rotated out, which means we can indeed go ahead and do Vandal Commando and granting it spirit and then boosting it will be quite potent. Blastcone Seedling, excellent option. Again, you can give itself impact to start boosting it. Anything that you can grant both impact and spirit means that it'll be quite powerful to just constantly be getting stronger and stronger. Let's see, Grumble Slug is getting rotated. Let's see. Of course, the Explorers, just because they're really good for the mirror match. And then let's see. What else? I think we'll do just a couple. Where's scrap heaps? We'll do 2 scrap heaps, just because, like I said, there are a couple Mecha Yordles that, because they have the ability to quickly stack up their impact effects, and almost all of the Mecha Yordles have impact, means that they're just good units that are synergized really well with boost. Let's see. Dawn Speakers is getting errata to give other allies spirit if an ally died this round. This means that Dawn Speakers will synergize incredibly well with Lux. So we're going to throw a couple copies of Dawn Speakers in. And then, let's see. I did Durand Architect. Let me double check to make sure Durand Architect isn't getting rotated out. Nope. Durand Architect is not getting rotated out. So we are going to go ahead and do one copy of Durand Architect. And then, let's see. One Scholarly Pioneer. And then, let's see, a couple Combat Cooks. Actually, we'll do 3. And then we'll need to save 3 spots for Lux. Hold on. Let's see. Need to. Okay. Pull up cards. I think we'll want to, let's see, 3 spots for Lux Illuminated, 3 spots for Dreamlight Alina, and I think 3 copies of, well, that's 6 units, and then that's all the Lux's Incandescents. What about the, so we need to keep at least 6 spots open for Lux's cards. Family Reunion does not seem to be main deckable, so maybe that's Vex's champion card? That's weird. So we will want 3 copies of Beefcake Gamere, so we want to keep at least 9 spots open. That gives us 6 slots that we are able to play around with. Let's see. We did say Realm's Caretaker. And then, except no, we aren't playing enough boons or traps for Realm's Caretaker. I think it was Furious Faefolk. It should be very easy to deal damage to the enemy nexus 4 or more times. So we'll do 1 Furious Faefolk. It is a 7-drop, so we don't want to go too hard on that. 2 copies of Bandle Gunners. And then we'll have 3 spots for strike effects. And we are going to be doing Gentleman's Duel. Okay, that leaves us with 3 spot or the 9 slots that we need for the cards that will be getting added in. We're just going to name this. This is going to be Lux 2.0 plus Trist. And then let's do a Lilia deck. And actually, this one will be Eternal, because I do think that Lilia Ari will be quite interesting. So it'll be Eternal, 3 Ari. Let me actually go ahead and reopen the Lilia reveal. Okay. Because we will want let's see. I'm going to be doing Vestayan Disciple. Iris would be useful. The only problem is that because it isn't a summon effect, uh, we won't be able to really replay the effect. Because we want stuff that is on summon. Um, and uh, so, let's see. Sparring student wouldn't be too bad. Nah. Let's see. Recall an ally to get vulnerable. Uh, let's see. Hmm. Grandfather Fae might not be too bad. Let's see. Ionian Hookmaster is actually interesting. Because Dreamblade Bow recalls any of the attachments that are attached to the unit that gets put to sleep. This means that you basically are able to start printing out a vast amount of weapons, which is really strong. So, Ionian Hookmaster being able to print those weapons and then grant them to give those weapons to other allies is quite strong. Let's see. Navori Highwayman is actually quite interesting. This is a just good early game unit. When you put it to sleep, when it wakes up, it summons even more Navori Brigands. And if Lilia levels up, because your sleeping units awaken immediately and get spirit, this means that Navori Highwayman will awaken with as a 2/3 and will summon another 2/3. And then if you put it to sleep again, it then wakes up as a 3/4 instead of a 2/3 and just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And the Navori Brigands are also constantly getting bigger. Prancing Sea Sprites, because that is a play effect, would not quite work. We I believe all of the Blade Dance cards are play rather than summon. Let me double check. Blade Dance. Oops, it would help if I spelled blade correctly. Play, recall. When you Blade Dance, I attack with the blades. Play Blade Dance 1. Yes. So we do not actually want to be playing Aurelia with Lilia. So, pass on all of that. Go down to, let's see. We do want a couple Black Flames. Just because Black Flame on is just a really easy way to re-trigger the summon effects. And when you attack with Ahri, she strikes and then can just recall the ephemeral unit that was summoned by Black Flame, allowing you to create a permanent copy. We can do one copy of Darkened Fan, again, just because summoning extra units is really good. And again, attach it onto Ahri. You can just swing. She gets to free attack. And the Darkened Fan is just creates a unit that she can automatically swap with. Plus, then it means that you can actually save the Dragonling for another turn. Because the Dragonling is just a 2/1 lifelink ephemeral. So you can then save it for a defense turn. I do think Bout Security is actually an interesting card. We'll do 2 copies of Bout Security. We do want to keep 3, 6, 9 spots open again for Lilia, Sprite Mother, and Dreamlit Alina. Because we, and then Let's see. Greenglade Elder. We'll do one copy of it. Being able to repeatedly grant allies in hand +1/+1 is interesting. And it is possible. Actually, let me check the rotation. Because it is possible that Greenglade Elder might be one of those cards that's getting changed to grant allies in hand Spirit. But I don't know if Greenglade Elder is getting rotated. So, where's the Ionia cards? Ionia, there we go. All right. Well, Greenglade Elder is not getting rotated, and this is an Eternal deck anyways. But if you were to modify this deck to be playable in Standard, Greenglade Elder would be one of those cards that you could potentially play. Especially if it is changed to grant allies in hand Spirit. And then I'm summoned around start. The Spritling's Fey? Let me double check. Because if they are Fey, Mushroom Ring is actually interesting. Because it is a quick attack that could potentially be boosted up to very high levels, especially when it's summoned. Let me go ahead and pull up the Lux Illuminated reveal. They are not listed as Fey, which is interesting. Alright, so never mind. Mushroom Ring probably not going to be very good. Pit Professional being able to print coins is interesting. But I don't think it's quite worth it. Let's see. Dragon's Protection in hand, not really worth it. Shadow Assassin for card draw could be interesting. Being able to constantly draw units could be interesting. Let's see. Again, we could throw in the Combat Cooks, but Field Musicians might actually be interesting. Because you're using quite a bit of mana for recalls and other spells and other things, and the Dreamladen Bows do trigger as summons, meaning that it seems like it should be a lot easier to trigger the summon 3 other allies, refill your spell mana, and draw 1. Especially if you get Lilia leveled up, where putting an ally to sleep immediately wakes them up. Overall, I think 1 Field Musicians might be interesting to play around with. Let's see. Allegiance. Spritlings will be main deckable. Kinku Wayfinder would be very easy to just constantly summon out your Spritlings. Especially since, as of right now, there are very few non-Ionia cards in the deck. Kinku Wayfinder, as a result, I think would be interesting to consider for the deck. Mage Seeker Inquisitor is just one of those cards that people were like, yeah, throw in Mage Seeker Inquisitor, just start printing it with the Dreamladen Bow, constantly create more suppressions in hand. Yeah. That's just going to be one of those ones that just is what it is. Smooth and Mixologist is a play effect. Same thing with Silvering Vanguard. Trusty Adnir. constantly creating Adnir's Aviarists, being able to grow their stats to the strongest power of other units. Maybe a one of, just because the Adnir's Aviarists is an interesting card. I think since we are doing Black Flame, a couple copies of... Well, nah. We'll do one Dragon Ambush. Let's see. Lots of play effects, actually. Attack, summon. Cloud Drake, constantly reducing costs in hand, could be interesting. Don't think it's really worth it. Genevieve Elmhart could be. That's a possibility. I wonder if Katagrin the Ruined would be moved to play, grant an ally challenger in spirit. Probably not, though. Sorry for the sudden absence of my mic. I had to cough. Beguiling Cobra is no longer a summon, just a play. Serene Skysinger could be interesting if in a more spell-heavy version of the deck. But I think they were also thinking about Lord Eldred changing to when an ally survives damage, grant it spirit. Otherwise, I think this is all I really want to be playing. Actually, one copy of Cythria. Being able to Dreamladen Bow's Cythria and just constantly sleeping her and waking her up is really funny. So yeah, I think that gives us 13 cards. We'll be doing probably at least 9, potentially a couple more main deck Spritelings and Tree Sprites. And I think that will be it for the Lilia deck as its potential start. And so we'll call those two experimental decks it for right now. And we will... so yeah, I think that will be it for today's stream. Let's go ahead and name this. This is Lilia Ari Eternal. Yes. And then, yeah, we'll just call it there for right now. And we'll see what happens next week. I will probably do one more stream on Sunday, once we have got a few more cards to kind of review and react to whichever cards we get. See if we need to do any cuts or changes to these two drafts to get them ready for next week's rotation. And then on rotation day, we will probably try and do a stream testing out some of these decks and seeing how they go. But thank you for joining, and I will probably see you guys Sunday for the next couple days worth of spoilers. And then again on Wednesday, once the patch drops, and start playing with the new cards. And then I will be working on another podcast for the Monday after the expansion and rotation to go over my thoughts and where things landed and see how good things are. So, yeah, thanks again for joining